Hello and welcome. I'm Sam, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make a house beat in Ableton Live 10. Let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, what exactly is a house beat? Well, house is usually defined by what's called like a 4x4. So with every measure, you have 4 beats. On each and every one of those 4 beats, there is like a kick drum. A lot of different songs, a lot of different genres have the kick drum in different places. It's usually not like a really steady, kind of beat like that, but house has a very steady kick. I also happen to have like a clap or a snare here that is very consistent. It's on pretty much every other on beat. So it's not on every single beat, but it's like one after the other. We also have the hi-hat, which occurs, like on the upbeat, and then we have like a closed hat here, which is going to kind of work as like a shaker. And every house song has these 4 elements of a shaker, a steady kick on each and every like individual beat, a clap that's on like every other beat, and then we have the hi-hat that's on the off beats. And for those of you that don't know much about music theory, it's going to make a lot more sense once I actually put it in here and you can see it visually. But to start with, I have a bass line just to kind of give us a better idea of how the beat kind of like brings everything together. Nothing crazy. Pretty fun, pretty greasy, pretty housey. But in order to get your beat started, I have some drum racks here. This is one that I made myself. It's 2 kicks that are layered on top of each other. I'll show you how to layer in a different video. So we got the kick there. In another drum rack, I have 2 claps that are right on top of each other. The open hi-hat, same thing, more drum racks. And the closed hi-hat, or the shaker in this case, has these 2. One's a little more open than the other, and I'll show you how those work. But to get started, house beat usually start with the kick drum. It's the easiest to put together. So first thing I do, you can make a MIDI clip by highlighting a section, and we're going to highlight 1 bar, right click, and just hit insert MIDI clip. There are some hotkeys you could use. You can highlight the same section, hit Command Shift M. Same kind of idea. Does the same thing, it's just faster. So you have a clip here. I'm going to hit B. Oh, I'm already in draw mode, but in case you aren't in draw mode, hit B so you get the little pencil, and you can draw in all the notes you want. So let's see. Actually don't want those. I do want this though. So I'm going to put each kick on our first beat here, bar 1, beat 1, and every beat after that. So this is 1, 1, 3, 1, 2. That's where the next beat starts. 1, 3. So when that starts, 1, 4. There we are. So we have 1 on each and every single beat. That's the 4x4. And let me actually extend this loop so that you can actually listen to it. And so you can hear that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Super straightforward. I usually like to start my house music just talking about tempo, about 120, 125. House doesn't have a very specific tempo, but Ableton likes to sit at 120. I like to increase it a little bit to 125. It's not going to make a massive difference. So you have the kick drum on every, on beat here. I like to put in my clap 2 to make another MIDI clip. Do the same kind of thing. I'm going to put it on all the odd numbered, the even numbered measures here. So we have like 1, 2, and 1, 4. There we go. So that sounds pretty good. Extend that too. Here we go. Starting to come together. And a house isn't the most complicated thing on the planet. Do the same thing here with the open hat, make a little MIDI clip. I'm going to do this on all of the odd numbered ones. So we have 1, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 3, and 1, 4, 3. There we go. So The even numbers are going to be like on beats, and you just kind of do every other, well, the on beats, just the every other on beat is what the even numbers are. And then we have the odd beats are going to be the off beats, as they're called. You can hear it's like on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. That's how music theory works. Super fun, super exciting. Next, I'm going to go ahead and make the shaker in this case, debating whether I'm going to... Nah, we'll leave it as just one bar for now. With the shaker, you can make it as complicated as you want. It can be super fancy, it can be super basic. It doesn't make a massive difference. Kind of depends on the sound you're going for. Sometimes you could just go into Ableton and just check out shakers, or shaker. That's just the sound. If you can find a clip, which I guess you can use these for sounds too, but a lot of the time, here's one. Some nice little percussion you can put in there. You can easily grab just like an audio clip of a shaker loop, drop it in there, you're done. But I like to kind of make my own, just for funsies. Oh, gotta select down here. There we go. So first things first, start with the closed one. I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle them as I go. It doesn't really matter where they go, as long as there aren't too many. I'm gonna listen to it real quick and kind of see how I like it. Listen for anything that sounds like it's out of place, or it's like hitting too quickly, or anything that's weird. So like this right here was too fast, so I can actually bring that back. I'm gonna move this over a little bit too. Nope, that didn't sound right. Put that back. I'm gonna increase this loop so you can listen to it for more than 2 seconds. Oh, not bad. This spot's still pretty weird. So I'm gonna move that over a little bit. Put an extra one in there. Huh, why not? Still sounds funny, so I'm gonna go ahead and move this around a little bit, get rid of that guy. A lot of this is just kind of trial and error. You just gotta kind of listen to it, see what it sounds like, and if it sounds good, then you're set to go. But if it sounds a little weird, or like it's kind of, that sounds like there are too many or too few, then move them around. There we go. So the purpose of this here is just kind of give the beat a little more rhythm, because house is very much like 1, 2, 3, 4. You need a little bit of flavor sprinkled in there to kind of make it danceable, a little more rhythmic. So that's all this does. Just adds a little rhythm to it, a little extra percussion in there just to kind of give it some flavor. I'm going to do the same thing with the slightly more open hat here. Just sprinkle this in some places where it would be noticeable. If there's like a gap, or like on a specific beat, instead of just like somewhere in the middle. So I try that. Cool. There we go. So I just put it on every beat individually, and it sounds much more interesting. Another little thing you can do here is add what's called a groove. Ableton does have grooves in here. You can hit, let's do groove. All right, well, they aren't labeled as grooves, but they're usually labeled as either logic or like swings. They have this weird little like, squiggle line icon next to them. And what these really do is they adjust the notes in your MIDI clip to this pattern. So they kind of give it a little bit. Sometimes they give it like swing, or they like bring them closer together, so they have more of like a specific rhythm, as opposed to just being like very square cut and robotic. Gives a little bit more of like an organic sound. So here I've selected one for myself, edited a little bit. I like how this sounds, so I'm gonna just drop this in here and hit commit, and that'll adjust all these in very, very small ways. So like here, this one was moved up a little bit. That might have been the only change. Sometimes the changes aren't gigantic. which generally you don't want them to be massive unless you kind of know what you're doing. But in this case, with something like this, just a little bit of help is all it really needs. See, so now it has a little bit more of like a funky kind of rhythm to it, a little more organic sounding. Sounds like someone's actually playing the instrument instead of me just slapping it into a machine. Actually sounds pretty good so far. Not bad. Let's listen to it all together just to be sure. Not bad. So as you can see, making a house beat is not the most complicated thing on the planet. Just to recap, start with your kick, put your kick drum on every individual beat, on the on beats in your bar or in your measure. And then over here, with the clap or the snare, same kind of idea, just put them on the even numbered beats. The open hi-hat goes on the odd numbered beats, and your closed hat or your shaker, if you want to make your own, it's great. It sounds awesome. Just take like a nice little click sound, drop it in there a bunch of times, make sure it doesn't sound like it's just like random noise, but a little more rhythmic. Add some flavor to it, and you're done. Super simple, super easy. Actually listen to it without the bass. So you can kind of hear all those individual elements kind of come together to create a nice fleshed out rhythmic danceable beat. So yeah, there we go. That's how you make a house beat. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, next video, I'll go ahead and show you how to layer your instruments and what it means to really fatten up those sounds. Well, thanks for watching, and catch you next time.